Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Margaret Okar. I am the Senior Associate Director for Admission Services at Penn State World Campus, and I'm also our Coordinator of Military Initiatives. I am also a former Nittany Ai participant from a few years ago, where we worked on a project called Transfer Match. So I have some expertise both from my work experience and as a student myself in the education space. So I'm just going to talk to you for a few minutes about some potential opportunities as you're considering AI and considering the education space perhaps. And I certainly hope that this few minutes of video is just our introduction to each other. And please do feel free to reach out to me anytime if you have questions or if there's anything I can do to help and support you throughout this process. So one of the first things I just want to say to you is that the great thing about the education space and the opportunities that you may have to create something in this space, I would really encourage you to think about your own experience as a student. Especially in the last couple of years with COVID, you know some of the issues and the challenges and the problems that you faced as a student. Is there an opportunity there? Or is there something you can think back to where, oh gosh, maybe that could have been done a little bit better? And is there something that could be discussed or designed to solve problems in that space? So I'd really encourage you to think about your own experience first and foremost. I also think that you certainly had an academic life before the pandemic. It doesn't seem like that because it seems like it's been going on for quite some time, doesn't it? But I think even before that, think about some of those problems that you had or that your friends and family had, and really deeply dive into some of those and see if there's any opportunity there. I also think you should think about the K-12 space. There's a lot of opportunity, I think, in that area too for innovation, whether it's around learning analytics. Everyone now, whether we're in the face-to-face or the online space, is trying to do more with less and trying to figure out ways to work smarter, to teach smarter and more efficiently. And if that means that you can use data to help you in your teaching or as an administrator like me to do your job better and support students better, I think there's a lot of potential opportunities there. I mentioned transfer credits as something that is a problem area that we see for our students, and that population across the country is growing. And some of you may think, oh, that's just probably adult students, but it's really not. It's students of all ages. We're also seeing a lot more high school students that are coming in with college credit, significant amount of college credit already. So think about those folks and think about if there's opportunities there for innovation that you might be able to take advantage of. I think there's always some interesting experiences that can happen also for our seniors and our older adult population. Again, a growing group around the country and around the world. And places that are trying to educate them either for new professions as our lifespans get older, or just for the sake of learning, I think are going to be really interesting things in the industry of education in the next couple of years. So I would just encourage you to think broadly and utilize your own experiences. Talk to your friends and family about the challenges that they've had, especially during COVID, but before that as well. And if there's anything that I can do to help you brainstorm a little bit more outside of this video, I really hope that you'll connect with me. I wish you the very best of luck. Take care.
So my name is Andrew Gutberlet. I work as a manager of engineering services at Penn State's Office of Physical Plant. And we take care of buildings across not just University Park, but every campus across the entire university. So the thought that I had about building data management was, how do we make all of the data that we're collecting from our buildings more useful and help us to improve the sustainability decisions that we're making? So I'm focusing here on building mechanical systems. So the building that you're sitting in right now, it has an air handler up on the roof, and there's mechanical and air systems that are providing warm air to you right now. And on every one of those devices associated with those air handlers and everything else associated with providing heating, ventilation, and air conditioning to all of our buildings, there are numerous sensors, data that we are collecting across the board, whether it's temperature, pressure, flow, everything else that's associated with making sure that those buildings are working. And that's in every single building, and there are many of those sensors, hundreds of sensors that are in each building. And we're talking about more than 30 million square feet of space that we're collecting, and again, not just from University Park, but from across the entire Commonwealth, all of this data that we're collecting. How many data points do we have? We don't even know how many data points we have, but we know it's more than 1 million. Providing data continually. Those are the data points that we're collecting, and then every one of those data points is providing us data on a regular basis. So on some cases, we have that data updated every 5 seconds. So if you want a big data problem, here's a big data problem. So how do we use it? With all of that data, once we know that there is a problem, then we can go and look at data trends. We can go and look at equipment. When did it go offline? What its issues are. But the point here is that we can pick and choose what data we want to use, but we only use it after a problem has already come up. So what if? What if we can start seeing problems before occupants see them? If your temperature in your room is increasing, but you're not even sensitive to it yet, but AI could see that. Trends indicating an imminent failure of a piece of equipment. Inefficiencies. So maybe an AI could be programmed to say, this building could be run much more efficiently, and here's how you can do it. How about places where behavior change impacts the energy of the building? And a great example is the building you're sitting in right now, which has a problem with people using space heaters. So throughout the business building, our staff and faculty are using space heaters in their offices, which screws up the heating in the rest of that zone, because then the thermostat in that room thinks it's warmer than the room actually is, and actually calls for cooling. So you could have a space where somebody has a space heater blasting on them and cold air being introduced into that space. So of course that's impacting energy, but that's all driven by behavior change, and maybe an AI can help us identify when that's happening. And then there might be different criteria for different systems. Every single one of our buildings, it has a unique mechanical system. It's a little bit different everywhere, and so having a single solution is hard to come by. Every single building is going to have a different system, and it's going to have different criteria for making sure that we're operating it the most efficiently. So how do we deal with all of this right now? So we have all of this data, these millions of points of data that is being transmitted to a common server. It holds all of that data. We're calling it a data lake. And so here we go. We have this data lake of all of this information. And so how do we extract the useful components of this out of that data lake and implement it? And so what we're looking at now are these fault detection and analytics programs. And what they do is they'll transform that data from the data lake so that it can be easily understood, and then it allows users like the engineers that work for our group to access and manipulate that data. But the challenge is the same one that I brought up before, that people are only going to extract the data when there's a problem. Nobody is looking at problems that don't exist yet or haven't been reported. And that's something that perhaps AI could do, constantly looking at that data to tell us what the problems are before they ever happen, before they're ever apparent. So imagine this setup. You have these data sources on the far left. Those are the sensors that are providing it. The data goes into this gigantic data lake where all of this data in raw form is stored. And then you have a program that pulls the data out, transforms it into a useful format, and then makes it ready for queries. But maybe the AI at that far right-hand side, maybe the AI can already do those queries, can already look into that data and find problems that we aren't even looking for.
The ability to read and write is essential for participation in today's society, but many children and young people, especially those with disabilities, do not receive the support they need to learn to read and write. More than 61 million Americans have disabilities, and more than 40 million have severe disabilities. Many of these individuals do not receive the support they need to learn to read and write. Without being able to read and write, these individuals are significantly restricted in all aspects of their lives, including education, employment, family, and community life. The challenge is especially hard for individuals with disabilities who also have difficulty with speech. For individuals with disabilities who have difficulty with speech, the use of augmentative and alternative communication, or AAC technology, can provide major benefit. AAC technology on iPads and tablet computers can provide speech output and can be a powerful support for communication and participation. Many AAC technologies, however, use pictures instead of the alphabet as a method of generating speech on the device. With this approach, the person with a disability does not receive practice in learning to read and write. As a result, more than 80% of people with severe disabilities cannot read or write. We believe better outcomes can be achieved. We are Penn State faculty and software engineers who are part of the RERC on AAC, a federally funded research center that develops new AAC technologies. We develop and evaluate new AAC software and technology solutions to meet the communication needs of people with severe disabilities. We have developed a new AAC feature to support the transition from the use of pictures to the use of words in AAC technologies. Using this new transition to literacy approach, individuals who use AAC can be helped to learn to read. Each time they press a picture on their AAC system, they see the corresponding AAC word.
Cat.
We have strong research evidence that this approach can be successful for people with severe disabilities and can help them learn to read and write. At present, it is a slow and time-consuming process to program the app to support reading. We believe AI can help make it faster and easier to program the app and to support the transition to literacy. As the sponsors, we will be able to provide input to the AI system of regularly decoded words, those words broken down into a string of sounds, and the words broken down to show which letters cause which sounds. We hope to end up with an API that can take any word as an input, break it apart into its sounds, and assign letters to each sound based on the rules created from the initial corpus. If all the letters can't be assigned to a sound, or the system can't find the letters that make a sound, the word should be flagged as irregular, and that should be returned by the API. Please join us in developing AAC technology that will help to make sure everyone, including people with disabilities, have the opportunity to learn to read.
Hi, welcome to AI for Good. I'm John Gershenson. I'm the director of the HESI program at Penn State, the Humanitarian Engineering and Social Entrepreneurship program here at Penn State. So what we do, it's a university-wide entrepreneurship program where we're specifically looking at solving large-scale sustainable development goals worldwide, looking for solutions that noticeably change the world for 1 million or more people. I'm really excited for AI for Good. We've participated in this for a few years. It's something that's near and dear to my heart. I think it's really important for everybody here to take a keen look at their ability to use our knowledge, our expertise, and our energy from across campus towards true meaningful change in the world around us. So AI for Good is kind of an interesting term. When I think of AI for Good, I kind of think of AI for community development. So that is how we're working within to support communities that are looking to raise themselves up. And this can be done anywhere. I think there are communities everywhere from right in our own backyard to halfway around the world that are most definitely in need of it. My goal here, I guess, in this short video is to help give you a little bit of motivation, a little bit of a push, and maybe even a little bit of direction for what you all might get interested in terms of AI for good. So I think in terms of AI for good, there are perhaps three keys to what makes something, any solution or any problem or any business that you develop really successful. So the first is a true fantastic understanding of what the problem is. And that comes from speaking to lots and lots of people who have the problem before you have any idea of what the solution might be. That leaves you wide open to the full breadth of what possible solutions might be. So fantastic understanding of the problem, that's number one. Item number two then is to always begin with the simplest form of the technology that will still have an impact. Complexity absolutely kills impact. The simpler the problem, the simpler the solution is, the more likely the solution will be developed and used for the problem. There is tons of amazing technology out there that truly could solve the problem if it was only simpler and better and more appropriate for the people who are supposed to use it to be able to use it. So that's number two, simple technology, simple and appropriate technology. Number three, I think, is de-risking the business model at every point. I think AI for community development in general, more social venture business models are at much higher risk for failure than some others because they depend so much on how they work well within a community environment. And you can't just throw more money at the problem in order to make your solution stick. So at every turn, figuring out ways to de-risk the business model by making it fit better into the existing flow, the existing way that people are doing business, that people are living, that people are getting resources there. So those are some ideas for the general business model. And then where should you apply these AI for good? So I think lower and middle income communities, great place to start. Again, we have some in our own backyard, we have some halfway around the world, but basically this idea are products and services for the other 80% of the world where most people are not trying to push products and services. I think that's a really good area to focus. I think the growth of IoT that allows for this combining of data across forgotten areas to accelerate their growth is really exciting. I'm going to come back to data a few times, but IoT is a great cheap tool to put into other existing technologies in order to achieve that. I think that's fantastic. Thinking about leapfrogging technologies as they exist now by using distributed networks of products, of services, of technology deployment. I think both leapfrogging and these distributed networks are real good concepts to keep in mind as you're thinking of this. I think partnering is really important as well. How can you partner to serve existing organizations and existing companies in these communities in order to help solve their problems, especially in this area of AI for community development or AI for good? I think you are less likely to have perhaps less likely to have a direct connection with the end user, and your customer might be an in-between person. And if that's the case, you must make sure that you are solving their problem as well. I think getting back to data, this idea of data sets and models that are focused on these regions are really important, rather than taking data sets and models that are for that 20%, right? And then trying to figure out a way to apply them to the other 80%. That never works. Original data sets and original models that focus on the particulars of a community or of a region are really important. So what are some of the things that I've seen then that are really hot? Alternative transportation. So applications in AI for good for alternative transportation, growing by leaps and bounds, I think much faster in some of the regions that I work in than it is most definitely in the United States, especially for really impressed. Irrigation is always a problem. Irrigation for individuals, figuring out ways to do that more effectively, more environmentally sound ways to do it more efficiently. Safety and security at the individual level, really interesting sort of topic, allowing people to take control of their own environment, to better understand their own environment and what's around them with respect to safety and security. I think chain of custody is a really interesting issue of almost anything. So you could think of that in terms of drugs, but I think of it also in terms of food, documents, almost anything. Maintaining a chain of custody as things travel in areas that might be somewhat less developed in terms of infrastructure. That's really interesting. Mass customization of products and services. Definitely everybody around the world has the same sort of idea that they want the me product. I don't think that changes with how much money you might have in your pocket. You still aspire to some of the same things. So how do we bring mass customization around the world in various forms of services, of products, of almost anything? In general, at-home services. So doing something at home instead of having to travel somewhere or going to a large organization or going to a government organization to get it done. So whether that's health or legal or social services, how can you bring more of those into, we think of phones into somebody's hand and into their home. Mental health and social services as well, giving people greater access to that all around the world when they may not have it right around the block from them. Definitely growing problem, growing skills there, and growing awareness of it, which is fantastic. Product take back and recycling in areas that don't have collection, separation, infrastructure. How can that be done more effectively, more efficiently? It's becoming the law in many more places around the world, and actually building up far more effective solutions than we see here in the United States in some really surprising places. Come talk to me. I'm kind of in the middle of that with one company that I launched as well. And then I think the last area that I would suggest is biodiversity and the maintenance of biodiversity. I hear a lot of people talking about that right now. In all sorts of areas. I think it is really interesting. So I would just close this video by saying, again, I'm John Gershenson from the HESI program. I'm easy to find on campus. Love to help support some of these ventures that you're working on. If you're thinking of doing something overseas, if you're thinking of doing something that's focused on community development, if you're thinking about what does a social venture model truly look like, come find me. I'd love to talk with you. Okay, good luck in AI for good.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining our presentation. We'll be discussing how Grow Intelligence's Grow for Good program can help you this year at Penn State's Nittany AI Challenge. My name is Erin. I'm a marketing associate at Grow. So we'll start by doing a little introduction to Grow and who we are. So we have become a single source of truth by harvesting vast amounts of global data across agriculture, climate, and the economy. Our data provides a chronicle of the past, present, and future. It's curated by human intelligence and our team of domain experts. It's also scaled by artificial intelligence. We have machine learning models and forecasting and predictive models, which all enable the illumination of interrelationships between ecology and economy. Grow for Good is a program at Grow, which provides premium level access to the Grow platform at no cost to academics, to nonprofits and growers working on food security and climate change. Grow for Good has helped our members build sustainable solutions for academic competitions, conduct research for classwork, lecture materials, and books, analyze data for sustainable development work and planting decisions. And we can also work on customizable projects and solutions if you're interested in joining us.
Hello, my name is Yuri Schlachter. I'm a senior quantitative scientist at GROW. And this would be our third year supporting AI, Nittany Ai challenge. We think GROW data can be used in the three topics of the challenge: in the health, humanitarianism, and environment. And examples of data and models you can use are in the areas of food security, optimization of food production and pricing, and in the area of climate change, both doing predictions and addressing risks. We're making GROW available for the competition, but you can use it beyond the competition if you're using it for academic or nonprofit purposes, or you're building a grower company. We have amazing data sets ready for you, so you can concentrate on building your solutions and not search for data. I want to show two examples of GROW models that might interest you, that you can start with. One in the area of climate change. We have climate data, and we are creating GROW drought index that help predict droughts all over the world, and we extending it with the climate data to predict future droughts. We also have a lot of other models built on top of climate data, such as GROW Climate Indicator and many others that you can help to build your own models with climate data. The second example is in the area of agriculture. We have models built for plant diseases, both pests and plant diseases, such as locust impact model that we built when locust infestation happened in 2020. You could use those models directly, or you can use ideas from there and customize models to your own crops and location. So how can you start in the competition with GROW data? Start with our website. It has a variety of data and presentations that may help guide your ideas, such as insight and curated displays that present GROW data for you, or you can just browse the data with a display browser and use GROW ontology to find data that would be of interest to your project. We also have GROW YouTube channel that have instructions for GROW website and additional webinars and information. If you're still looking for ideas in the area of food sustainability and climate change, listen to the presentation from our CEO and founder, Sarah Menker, that has a lot of ideas on how GROW data can be used in the GROW for Good projects. We have a dedicated email, hackathon@growintelligence.com, that can be used to answer your questions, how this data can be used for the hackathon. Start with GROW displays in the proposals phase, and as you go into proof of concept and MVP, start using GROW APIs and other ways to get the data to build your own models. We also have a team of experts in agriculture, climate change, and machine learning and AI ready to help you both with GROW models and maybe help guide your solution. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for joining us today. You can check out our website and our GROW for Good page to find the application if you're interested in forwarding that application along to other applicants you think might be interested in joining us. And you can reach out to us at hackathon@growintelligence.com. Again, you can also find our support email, intel@growintelligence.com. We can answer your questions, and we are looking forward to building solutions and projects with you this year. So thank you so much, and looking forward to hearing from you.
Thank you.